What's up, everybody? Chris Flick here, Chris Flick Podcast, episode number 141. Today we're going to be reviewing some numbers from the Aspen Institute State of Play. We're going to be trying to find a correlation between whether or not social media has an effect on sport participation and the overall health and fitness of our kids. And then lastly, we're going to be looking at this from the pre-COVID period and then also in the COVID period. But let's start with the COVID stuff first, all right? You look at sport participation, you look at obesity rates. You know, these past couple of years have been tough on kids. The obesity rates say, they're 19 to 22% in children during the pandemic, okay? Severely obese kids went from gaining 8.8 pounds to 14.6 pounds during that period of time. Moderately obese kids went from 6.5 pound weight gain over the course of the year to 12 pound weight gain. Healthy weight gain went from 3.4 to 5.4 pounds per year, all right? So that was the weight gain per year. For the severely obese, they gained almost 6 pounds more. For the moderately obese, over or a little bit less than 6 pounds. And then for the kids that had a healthy weight gain, it was about a 2 pound increase in what was when compared to the normal rates. All right. In June 2020, 19% of youth sports parents said their child was not interested in playing sport. By September of 2021, literally by 1 year ago now, that number rose to 28%. They did not come out with their updated numbers yet, or at least I haven't been able to find how those numbers were affected in 2022, but you saw a 9% increase just from from 2020 to 2021, 9% increase in kids and parents saying their kids are not interested in playing sports. Percentage of parents who say their child's health has decreased greatly or decreased slightly. Mental health, 25% of parents said that their kids were affected, their mental health was affected. 23.4% said their physical fitness was affected. 21.6% said their emotional control was affected. Social well-being, 30.2% said their child's social well-being was affected. During this COVID pandemic, that's about 25 to 30% across the board in all of these factors. There's going to be some long-term ramifications to these lockdowns, to these canceling of sporting events, to not having after-school activities that we will see down the road here. It's going to be an unfortunate side effect. There's no such thing as a free lunch, right? Every decision made is going to have some other, unintended consequence or an unintended effect that we just don't foresee, that we don't see coming. We need to be on the forefront of combating any kind of potential issue that arises. 49%, on the flip side now, let's get into something positive. 49% of parents reported their child's mental health has improved since restrictions have been lifted. 49%, we're almost at the halfway point. I hope as these years progress that the kids kind of get back to normal. All right, so that's the COVID negative side effects of the COVID lockdowns in a nutshell, in a very small nutshell. Now, we're going to look at the years between 2012 and 2019. These are the before COVID numbers. When people talk about sport participation being down, a lot of people are like, COVID really did this, COVID really did that. But the numbers were trending downward sharply before that. Kids aged 6 to 12 who played a sport in 2012. Males, 49.1%. Females, 33.5%. 2012 that was. 2019, male sport participation for kids aged 6 to 12 went from 49.1% to 39.1%. Female participation went from 33.5% to 32.7%. So males between the ages of 6 and 12 saw a 10% decrease in sport participation. Add in the COVID stuff, that number went down 2 more percentage points. So from 2012, it went from 49.1% to 39.1%. Then the lockdowns occurred, 37.1%. Females in 2012, 33.5% to 32.7%. The problem with this group from age 6 to 12, in my mind, is why are only 1/3 of young girls physically active? Those numbers in my mind should be higher, right? And then they got hit by COVID a little bit. They went from 32.7% in 2019 to 29.5% in 2020. So now they're under 30%. In kids aged 13 to 17, similar downward trends, all right? For the males, 2012, it went from 51.1% to 43.5% in 2019. 7.5 percentage point decrease. In females, 2012 went from 39% to 34.8% in 2019. So again, in 2000, what do we see there? 4.2. So 35% of girls aged 13 to 17 are physically active, 43.5% before the pandemic. One positive glimmer here is that the sport participation in this 13 to 17 age group actually increased during the COVID years, right? Up to 44.1% for males, so it went from 43.5 to 44.1, and then for females it went from 34.8% to 37%. So for this high school age, basically middle school to high school age, the sport participation went up ever so slightly. So to blame COVID on lack of numbers at the high school level is not true, is not accurate. If you believe that, if that is your reasoning for kids being, if you're a coach and you're saying, yeah, COVID really killed us, get out of that mindset. The numbers tell us otherwise. Get more kids out for your sport. Now, here's my tinfoil hat speculation here. When we look at the years, 2012, sport participation is high. Coming in at 2019, huge decrease, right? Over the course of this time, social media really started playing a significant role here. This is a thought experiment, everybody. Parents, coaches, anybody that's listening to this, I want some feedback on this matter. If you have some data, if you have some articles, if you have something, I want to try to find a relationship between social media use and sport participation / fitness participation in our kids, all right? Now, social media, right? We have things. So I'm in college, right? It's in that 2005-ish range. Facebook becomes a thing for college users. A few years after that, it gets introduced to the masses, right? More kids could do, high school kids could be on it, parents could be on it, adults could be on it. When you see the numbers of how many people are on Facebook, it's out of control. 2009, all right? 2009, the like button is introduced, and also that retweet button is introduced on Twitter. So we got Facebook, we have Twitter, starting to get more popular. Then you get things like, what came out then? We got Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok now, like whatever it is, all right? So you start looking at the use of these things. That time spent on social media is on the rise. Physical activity is on the decline, okay? Is there a relationship there? I don't know. But I have a feeling if you're sitting around playing on a device, you're not as physically active as you could be. I also have a theory that if there's this conditioning thing. People talk about this dopamine hit when you get a like, when you get, somebody shared this. You get a little excited, man. You're like, dang, people think I'm smart, right? People like what I'm saying. This is great. It reminds me of these old things. I heard they talked about B.F. Skinner, operant conditioning. He trained a pigeon to turn a dial. How did he do it? With each correct move, he rewarded it. He reinforced it. It's kind of what the like button does. With each like that you get, with each share, with each mention, it kind of gives you a little bit of a hit. It starts training you to think like, oh wow, people like that. Maybe I'll start continuing on this path. Maybe if I do more of this, it's going to be good. I do that with my podcast. I see which stuff gets the most viewed, and it's like, the scary stuff, losing my brother, right? The death of a family member got a big one. Talking about a scary conversation with an 8-year-old, that's another big one. I get some sport coaches on here that have good followings. I want to hear what they have to say. That gets a big one. So because of that, that's the area that I end up following, right? But in the end here, I want to know, guys, what do you think? Do you think social media is negatively affecting our kids' physical activity levels? I do. I gave you the numbers. I gave you the outline. When you see the decrease in activity and you see the increase in social media use, it goes hand in hand. Chris Flick Podcast. We're on YouTube, Google, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify. It's out there. Like it. Share. Go to my YouTube page. Subscribe to my channel. If you're able to do that, it just gets me out there in front of more people, and that is my goal, to get out there, have these conversations with more people, get their feedback, and just try to really develop these ideas, because at the end of the day, what we're really trying to do here in my line of work, in my job with my gym here, is we're just trying to make the world a little bit of a better place. And we're starting with the kids, man. We're trying to get them more fit. We're trying to get them to use their brains, to think a little bit, and just to kind of become good overall, well individuals, okay? Hope you guys like this one. Peace, everybody.